Beyond the sacred ramparts of Vatican City stands an age-old authority shaped by faith, influence, and enigma, the Roman Catholic Church. For generations, stretching from the era of Pope Gregory VII in the 11th century to the disputed leadership of Pope Pius XII during World War II, the Vatican has existed under a veil of rumors involving hidden wrongdoing and ominous schemes. As philosopher Francis Bacon once observed, "In taking revenge, a man is but even with his enemy, but in passing it over, he is superior." What secret designs might be concealed within the winding passageways of this holy city-state? From accusations of concealed crimes too disturbing to speak of, to whispers of cooperation with shadowy groups, Vatican history overflows with stories of manipulation and secrecy. Yet how much belongs to documented reality, and how much arises from myth? Step with us into the Vatican's concealed realm as we attempt to separate truth from legend within its most fiercely protected mysteries. Welcome to Historian Guru, the riddle of the papal throne. When Pope Benedict XVI announced in 2013 that he would relinquish the papacy, the globe reacted in disbelief. Such a step had not been taken in almost 6 centuries. As the first pontiff to resign since Gregory XII in 1415, Benedict XVI's decision triggered waves of speculation, with theories and suspicions swirling around what truly prompted his departure. Here, we venture into the maze of intrigue surrounding his resignation, aiming to distinguish verifiable fact from imaginative fiction in one of the Vatican's most puzzling modern chapters. Born Joseph Ratzinger, Benedict XVI ascended to the papacy in 2005 after the passing of the widely loved Pope John Paul II. His leadership focused on confronting the clerical abuse crisis and addressing the tension between church doctrine and a rapidly secularizing world. Yet it was his abrupt resignation in February 2013 that came to define his legacy for many, an act cloaked in uncertainty and ripe for conjecture. One explanation that gained momentum after his resignation centered on the Vatileaks affair, during which confidential Vatican papers were leaked to journalists, exposing corruption and internal power conflicts among top church officials. Some argue these revelations became the breaking point, pushing Benedict to step aside rather than be drawn into an internal struggle for authority. Another line of thought points to the Pope's declining health. Benedict himself cited both physical and mental frailty as reasons for stepping down, and there is evidence he had been considering resignation well before the announcement. Still, skeptics suggest health concerns served as a convenient justification, masking more complex forces operating behind the scenes. A more controversial theory claims the existence of a covert, gay lobby inside the Vatican, a circle of influential clergy allegedly exerting hidden control. According to this narrative, Benedict was pressured to resign as part of a strategic maneuver by this secretive faction seeking to protect its interests. Others look to prophecy. The so-called prophecy of Saint Malachi foretells that Pope Francis would be the final pontiff before the end times. Some believe Benedict, troubled by this prediction, felt the burden of destiny and chose to step aside to allow its fulfillment. As we examine the tangled narratives surrounding Benedict XVI's resignation, we encounter a layered picture of ambition, secrecy, and institutional power, a reminder of humanity's enduring fascination with conspiracy. Whether the full truth ever comes to light remains uncertain, but his resignation underscores the shifting dynamics of influence within one of the world's oldest and most mysterious institutions. Inside the scandals of the Vatican Bank, within the sanctified confines of Vatican City lies another body long associated with secrecy and controversy, the Vatican Bank, formerly called the Institute for the Works of Religion, IOR. Established in 1942 under Pope Pius XII, the IOR's original purpose was to manage the financial resources of the Holy See and the global Catholic Church. Over time, however, it became entangled in disputes involving alleged money laundering, corruption, and suspected links to organized crime. One of the most infamous episodes erupted in 1982 with the collapse of Italy's Banco Ambrosiano, a bank closely tied to the IOR. Its chairman, Roberto Calvi, nicknamed God's Banker for his Vatican connections, was discovered dead beneath London's Blackfriars Bridge in what authorities ruled a murder. His death intensified suspicions regarding the Vatican Bank's role in the bank's downfall and the possible motives surrounding Calvi's killing. Investigations uncovered a vast network of financial irregularities, with Banco Ambrosiano amassing more than $1 billion in debt through a maze of shell corporations, many connected to the IOR. Archbishop Paul Marcinkus, then head of the Vatican Bank, was linked to the controversy but denied wrongdoing and was never tried. In 1984, the Holy See paid $244 million to Ambrosiano's creditors without acknowledging guilt. The bank's image suffered again in the early 1990s amid renewed accusations of money laundering. In 1993, U.S. authorities placed the IOR on a watch list of institutions suspected of facilitating such activities. In 2010, Italian officials froze €23 million from IOR accounts over alleged breaches of European anti-money laundering laws. Though the funds were later released, the reputational damage endured. Further turbulence came with the VatiLeaks disclosures of 2012, which revealed financial mismanagement and internal rivalries. These leaks shed light on questionable IOR transactions and led to the conviction of Benedict XVI's butler, Paolo Gabriele, for leaking the materials. In response, Pope Francis introduced sweeping reforms. In 2013, he created a papal commission to review the Holy See's economic and administrative structures, tasked with scrutinizing the IOR. He also appointed new leadership and implemented stricter measures to fight money laundering and increase financial transparency. Even so, past controversies linger. In 2020, Italian authorities arrested broker Gianluigi Torzi over a disputed London property deal involving Vatican funds. He faced charges of extortion, embezzlement, and laundering money, reigniting debate about the IOR's financial conduct. Early Christianity and the Gospel of Judas. In the field of early Christian studies, the year 2006 witnessed the reappearance of a lost and highly controversial manuscript that shook long-held views about one of the most notorious figures in Christian tradition, Judas Iscariot. Known as the Gospel of Judas, this Coptic manuscript, believed to date to the 3rd or 4th century, presents a strikingly different account of the bond between Jesus and the disciple remembered as his betrayer. Its contents provoke deep reflection about the roots of the early church and the intricate relationship between belief, authority, and interpretation. The unearthing of the Gospel of Judas seemed almost unbelievable. During the 1970s, an Egyptian farmer reportedly discovered a leather-bound codex near El Minya. After circulating through the hands of antiquities traders and private collectors, the delicate document eventually reached the Maecenas Foundation for Ancient Art in Switzerland. There, experts undertook careful work to verify its authenticity and restore its damaged pages, gradually revealing the extraordinary material preserved within this long-lost gospel. Unlike the canonical Gospels of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, which portray Judas Iscariot as the ultimate traitor who handed Jesus over for 30 pieces of silver, this text offers a radically different portrayal. Here, Judas is depicted as Jesus' closest and most trusted disciple, selected to carry out a divine mission that would lead to the crucifixion and resurrection. In this narrative, his act is not framed as betrayal but as a necessary role in fulfilling a higher, sacred purpose. The consequences of this portrayal are both intriguing and extensive. By challenging the traditional account of Jesus' life and the theological foundations of Christianity, the Gospel of Judas opens the door to new interpretations. Many scholars see it as proof of the wide range of beliefs and practices that existed among early Christians, offering a more layered and complex understanding of how Christian doctrine developed. The text is also important because it highlights the Gnostic tradition, a mystical and diverse stream within early Christianity that the emerging Orthodox Church later labeled heretical. Gnostic thought stressed personal spiritual insight and the pursuit of hidden knowledge, often clashing with the structured and doctrinal authority of Orthodox Christianity. With its focus on an inner circle of disciples and secret teachings shared by Jesus, the Gospel of Judas reflects key Gnostic themes and provides valuable perspective on a movement often misunderstood. Although the Gospel of Judas has sparked intense debate among theologians and historians, it also invites broader reflection on the nature of faith and the role interpretation plays in religious belief. Confronted with the bold claims of this ancient work, we are reminded that accounts of the past often mirror the perspectives and assumptions of those who preserve and interpret them, rather than serving as purely objective records of history. In 1917, the quiet village of Fatima in Portugal became the setting for events that would capture global attention and leave a lasting mark on religious history. 3 shepherd children, Lucia, Francisco, and Jacinta, reported apparitions of the Virgin Mary, who entrusted them with 3 messages that came to be known as the secrets of Fatima. While Lucia disclosed the first 2 secrets in the 1940s, the third remained concealed for many decades, fueling speculation, controversy, and ongoing debate about whether its full contents were ever revealed. The first 2 secrets included a vision of hell, a request for the consecration of Russia, and predictions concerning the end of World War I and the outbreak of World War II. Yet it was the mysterious third secret that most captivated public curiosity and inspired decades of discussion. Lucia, the final surviving visionary, wrote the secret down in 1944, but it was not made public until 2000, after her death. According to the Vatican's official explanation, the third secret contains a prophetic vision relating to the 20th century, particularly the suffering of the Church and the 1981 assassination attempt on Pope John Paul II. In the vision, an angel cries, "Penance, penance, penance," while a bishop dressed in white, widely understood to represent the Pope, is killed by soldiers. The Vatican's interpretation frames the message as a call to prayer, repentance, and perseverance amid persecution. Still, many remain unconvinced that the entire secret has been disclosed. Alternative interpretations suggest that the vision released in 2000 may represent only part of the message, with additional prophecies yet unknown. These theories often revolve around the idea that the third secret warns of grave crises within the Church, such as internal apostasy or catastrophic events that could profoundly shake the faith. In the years after the Vatican's publication, several senior Church figures, including Cardinal Joseph Ratzinger, later Pope Benedict XVI, made remarks that some believe imply there may be more to the secret than what was revealed. Combined with Lucia's earlier hesitation to disclose it, such comments have continued to feed speculation. Ultimately, the deeper meaning of Fatima may lie less in precise words or official explanations and more in the enduring themes of faith, hope, and humanity's search for purpose in uncertain times. The mysteries of Fatima remind us that the pursuit of truth is a journey that reaches beyond time, space, and human limits, urging us to look beyond the material world toward the divine. Saint Malachy and the prophecies of the popes. Among Catholic prophetic traditions, few have stirred the imagination like the visions attributed to Saint Malachy, a 12th-century Irish archbishop. Born in Armagh in 1094, Malachy was known for his devotion and service to the Church. Yet it is his supposed predictions concerning the papacy that secured his legendary status. Tradition holds that during a visit to Rome in 1139, Malachy experienced a trance-like state in which he saw a succession of future popes extending from his era to the end of time. These revelations were recorded as a list of brief, symbolic Latin mottos known as the prophecies of the popes. The prophecies were said to have vanished for centuries before resurfacing in 1590, when Benedictine historian Arnold Wyon published them, claiming they had been found in Vatican archives. Their publication sparked intense interest, with many seeing them as a divinely inspired outline of papal history. Each motto consists of a short Latin phrase, often linked to a pope's heraldry, birthplace, or notable event during his reign. Some appear remarkably fitting, while others are vague and open to interpretation. For instance, the phrase Lilium et Rosa, Lily and Rose, is associated with Pope Urban VIII, whose coat of arms includes both symbols. Another, Religio depopulata, religion laid waste, is tied to Pope Benedict XV and interpreted as reflecting the devastation of World War I. Skeptics argue the list is a later fabrication, possibly designed to influence papal elections in the late 16th century. They note that the prophecies seem more precise before 1590 and increasingly ambiguous afterward, and that earlier historical sources do not mention them. Despite doubts, interest remains strong, especially regarding the phrase linked to Pope Francis, Petrus Romanus, Peter the Roman. This final prophecy describes a pope guiding the church through severe tribulation, ending in Rome's destruction and the end of the world. Whether genuine foresight or historical invention, Malachi's prophecies continue to raise questions. Are they true glimpses of the church's future, or reflections of political motives and human imagination? Perhaps their enduring appeal lies in humanity's tendency to seek patterns and meaning in history's unfolding drama. The papacy of Pope Pius XII, born Eugenio Pacelli, remains one of the most debated in Catholic history. Elected in 1939, his leadership coincided with World War II and the Holocaust. His wartime conduct has drawn both criticism and defense, with accusations of silence and complicity contrasting with claims of quiet resistance. Before becoming pope, Pacelli had established himself as a skilled diplomat. As papal nuncio to Germany from 1917 to 1929, he witnessed political upheaval and the rise of Nazism. Later, as Vatican Secretary of State, he helped negotiate the 1933 Reich Concordat, intended to safeguard church rights under Hitler. Critics argue this agreement unintentionally legitimized the Nazi regime. During the war, Pius XII faced the challenge of balancing protection of the church with moral responsibility. In his 1939 encyclical Summi Pontificatus, he condemned racism and totalitarianism and upheld human dignity, yet avoided directly naming the Nazis. His reluctance to issue explicit denunciations remains a central controversy. As reports of the Holocaust reached Rome, many hoped for a stronger papal response. His public statements remained cautious, leading some to accuse him of failing to confront genocide. Supporters counter that his restraint was strategic, aimed at preventing harsher reprisals, and point to covert rescue efforts, including sheltering Jews in church institutions and providing false documents. Some estimates suggest these efforts saved tens of thousands. Critics maintain that political calculation shaped his silence and that failing to publicly condemn the Holocaust amounts to moral failure. The debate intensified in 2020 when Pope Francis opened Vatican archives related to Pius XII's pontificate, allowing historians to further investigate this complex legacy. This decision, intended to promote transparency and deeper historical investigation, has granted historians and researchers fresh perspectives on the Pope's conduct and reasoning during the Second World War. As we explore the puzzling legacy of Pope Pius XII, we encounter a figure of striking complexity whose choices still resist easy labels. Was he a careful diplomat attempting to shield his faithful from the devastation of war, or a morally compromised leader more invested in safeguarding the Church's authority than confronting evil directly? The truth, much like the man himself, remains veiled within the mists of history. Within the fortified boundaries of Vatican City exists a vast reservoir of concealed knowledge, endless corridors lined with shelves and volumes guarding centuries of secrets. The Vatican Secret Archives, a private historical repository belonging to the Holy See, have long inspired fascination and speculation. Although formally established in 1612 by Pope Paul V, the archive's origins stretch much further back, with some documents dating to the 8th century. Venturing into this shadowy collection reveals the Vatican's deep links to pivotal individuals and transformative events throughout history. A notable case is the relationship between the Catholic Church and the renowned astronomer and mathematician Galileo Galilei. In 1633, Galileo stood trial before the Roman Inquisition and was condemned for heresy due to his support of the heliocentric model. The original trial transcript, along with his signed statement of recantation, is preserved within the sacred halls of the archives. Another major document safeguarded by the Vatican is the 1530 appeal from English nobles requesting Pope Clement VII to annul the marriage of King Henry VIII and Catherine of Aragon. This plea ultimately triggered the establishment of the Church of England, a division that dramatically reshaped Europe's religious map. The parchment, marked by 81 wax seals, symbolizes the intense political struggles of that era. The archives also contain papal bulls, formal decrees issued by popes across centuries. Among them is Inter Caetera of 1493, issued by Pope Alexander VI, which divided newly discovered lands between Spain and Portugal. This decree played a decisive role in the colonization of the Americas and influenced the fate of entire continents. Deeper exploration brings us to the enigmatic 1308 trial of the Knights Templar. This formidable medieval order of Christian knights was dissolved by Pope Clement V following accusations of heresy and secret rites. Records of their proceedings, including the famous Chinon parchment, were thought lost until their rediscovery in 2001. These documents clarify aspects of Templar history and reveal that the Pope absolved the order before its final suppression. The archives also preserve letters exchanged between popes and global rulers, offering rare insight into diplomacy and personal relationships. One poignant example is a letter written by Mary, Queen of Scots, to Pope Sixtus V shortly before her execution in 1587. In it, she pleads for papal intervention, revealing the anguish of a monarch facing death. Beyond historical statecraft, the archives contain traces of ecclesiastical intrigue. The sudden death of Pope John Paul I, whose papacy lasted only 33 days in 1978, has fueled decades of speculation. Some theorize his death prevented him from exposing financial corruption linked to the Vatican Bank. Although officially attributed to a heart attack, the archives may hold evidence that could confirm or refute such claims. Another compelling feature is the Index Librorum Prohibitorum, the list of banned books maintained by the Church from 1559 to 1966. Works by figures such as Galileo, Voltaire, and Charles Darwin appear on this list, reflecting the Church's historical efforts to regulate knowledge and preserve doctrinal influence. Curiously, the archives also preserve numerous reports and testimonies of exorcisms. These unsettling accounts, spanning centuries, depict the Church's struggle against demonic possession and illustrate the enduring power of belief in the supernatural. Although much of the Vatican's secret archives remains inaccessible to the public, Pope Francis has moved toward greater openness. In 2020, he authorized the release of materials related to Pope Pius XII, a figure criticized for perceived inaction during the Holocaust, to scholars and historians. This landmark step signals a push for accountability and transparency. Still, countless enigmas persist within these sacred halls. With documents spanning over a millennium, the archives hold the potential to uncover long-hidden truths and illuminate the Catholic Church's complex past. Masterpieces and mysteries, the Vatican's art collection unveiled. Inside Vatican City lies one of the most extraordinary art collections on Earth, covering thousands of years and showcasing a breathtaking range of masterpieces. From the awe-inspiring frescoes of the Sistine Chapel to the timeless sculptures of St. Peter's Basilica, the Vatican's collection reflects the Church's lasting role as a patron of the arts and guardian of humanity's cultural heritage. Yet beneath their serene beauty, many of these works contain layered symbolism and hidden meanings that invite deeper exploration. The Sistine Chapel, perhaps the Vatican's most celebrated artistic space, is famed for Michelangelo's Renaissance frescoes. Commissioned by Pope Julius II in 1508, the ceiling illustrates scenes from the Old Testament, with the iconic creation of Adam as its centerpiece. While the biblical themes are clear, scholars have long debated possible concealed symbolism. One theory suggests that the shape surrounding God in the creation of Adam resembles the human brain, hinting at a connection between divinity and human intellect. Another intriguing dimension of the Vatican's art is the presence of pagan imagery, seemingly at odds with Christian doctrine. The Belvedere torso, an ancient Roman sculpture in the Vatican museums, is thought to depict the demigod Hercules. The Church's adoption of such imagery dates back to early Christianity, when incorporating elements of pagan culture helped ease the Roman Empire's conversion. The collection also includes works wrapped in controversy, such as Diego Velázquez's 1650 portrait of Pope Innocent X. Celebrated for its stark realism, the painting captures the Pope's personality with striking honesty. Some historians believe the Pope disliked it because it exposed his true character and the political realities of the papacy. Another enigmatic artifact is the Chair of St. Peter, an ancient wooden throne once believed to have belonged to St. Peter himself. Encased in a magnificent bronze structure by John Lorenzo Bernini, it symbolized papal authority and was revered as a relic. However, Carbon dating in the 1960s revealed the wood dates to the 9th century, challenging its authenticity and raising broader questions about relics in the Vatican's possession. Knights, secrets, and shadows. The Vatican and the Templar mystery. Few groups in history inspire as much fascination as the Knights Templar, a medieval brotherhood of warrior monks central to the Crusades and surrounded by legend. Examining their relationship with the Vatican uncovers a story of power, belief, and the relentless pursuit of hidden knowledge. Founded in 1119, the Templars began as a small band devoted to protecting Christian pilgrims in the Holy Land. Over time, they expanded dramatically, accumulating wealth and property across Europe and the Middle East. Papal support proved vital to their rise. In 1139, Pope Innocent II issued the bull Omni Datum Optimum, granting the order exceptional privileges and autonomy. For nearly 2 centuries, the Templars enjoyed papal favor. Their downfall came in the early 14th century when Grand Master Jacques de Molay was arrested by King Philip IV of France on charges including heresy and idolatry. Under royal pressure, Pope Clement V disbanded the order in 1312, sealing the fate of the once powerful brotherhood.